So there's a lot of excitement and buzz about the Power Rangers Once and Always 30th anniversary special coming to Netflix April 19th, Wednesday of all things. Like everybody else, I'm super excited about it. As you know, I'm a huge Ranger fan and I really want to talk about it with you guys. So let's go. We're going to talk about Once and Always. As we're gearing up to like nerd out over nostalgia with the Once and Always 30th anniversary special, I've been on the internet, I've been on TikTok, I've been communing on Reddit with Ranger Nation, wherever I can find them, and just kind of picking their brains about some of the things and reading up some of the theories and other things that other fans are speculating. And I have five things that I really want to talk about that I feel like should be addressed in this 30th anniversary special, or mentioned or retconned or whatever. But these are just 5 things that really are picking my brain that I need an answer to, and I want to bring it to the floor to you guys so we can just talk about it before it comes out. Also, I will be doing a live stream, not of the movie itself, but me watching it as it comes out live, like a live reaction, my first time. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out Wednesday the 19th. It's gonna be here on YouTube. So just like and subscribe for that if that's something you're interested in, because I'm definitely gonna be talking about it as I'm watching it. So there's no real order to how I'm gonna bring these 5 points out. They're just kind of the things that are just the biggest things that are in my head about this. And since the show seems to revolve around David Yost and Walter E. Jones, I'm gonna start there first. My first and second theories. Number 1, David Yost. Last time we saw David Yost was in Zeo. He wasn't a ranger, he was more like the team mechanic, if that makes sense, where he basically used the Zeo crystals to create their Zeo powers and their weapons and their Zords, refactoring their old Zords, the Shogun Megazord of all things, which is my favorite Zord of all time, into the Zeo Megazord and all that. And then halfway through the season, he was written off. In the show, he decided to go to Aquatar to help the Zeo Rangers and the Aquatar Rangers like build weapons and things, and then there he fell in love and he decided to stay while sending the weapons and technology back to Earth. And then that was it. That was just the last we ever saw of him. Behind the scenes, what really happened, because of David Yost and his lifestyle choices, he was ridiculed and bullied and he left the show because he had enough of it, which that's sad and tragic and should be talked about in a separate video. This is David Yost's first time ever returning to Power Rangers in any type of capacity outside of, doing the convention circuit with the other Rangers. So I'm interested to see how they bring him back in, because from the trailer we get hints of what he's been up to. Like we see like tech with Cranston Industries on it. If you don't remember, Billy's last name is Cranston, which came from Bryan Cranston, because if you don't know, Heisenberg himself was in Power Rangers, and not only Zordon from the 2017 movie, but he was the voice of some putties and some villains back in season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the producers liked his last name so much they decided to name Billy Cranston. So that's where that comes from. If you didn't know, oh my god, I'm such a nerd, I know that. So we see Cranston Industries all over the place. Obviously Billy has come back. We see the Rad Bug 2.0. Billy clearly is like a Steve Jobs, Bill Gates type of person in this universe. Interested to see how they explain him returning, coming back from Aquatar with all this technology and becoming I'm assuming a billionaire or quadrillionaire off of this technology. Number 2, Walter Jones. The last time we see Zach is like part way in the middle of season 2, where Zach, Trini, and Jason go off to the peace conference.
From Angel Grove are Jason Lee, Zach Taylor, and Trini Kwan.
My theory with that is, are they gonna make canon the events of the peace conference from the comics? If you don't know, if you're not a follower of the comics, in the comics, once Zach, Trini, and Jason left to go off to the peace conference, it was revealed that it was a cover for them going to space for another Ranger mission and them becoming another Ranger team. I believe the Soul, S-O-L Rangers, the Soul Rangers, are they gonna make that canon? And then him coming back, because that would be great if they make that canon. Like that would be huge, that they're combining both the TV universe and the comic universe together. Shattered Grid is probably one of my favorite comic book storylines right now, and everything that they're doing in the comics is just amazing, and how they're correcting and fixing a lot of the things from Power Rangers lore. So that would be great, seeing them, how they're going to integrate that together. I don't know if they're gonna do it. It seems like I'm fishing for something that probably is not there. They probably just gonna say he came back from the peace conference and has been here this whole time and just never, been a Ranger. But again, Walter E. Jones, this is his first time ever coming back, ever. But I'm gonna put a pin in that because there's something else I want to bring up. Third thing, and this is clearly what the movie is about, them making canon the Yellow Ranger's death in real life. Tri Yang, back in 2021, or yeah, 2001, I'm sorry, back in 2001, a week or two before 9/11, Tri Yang tragically lost her life in a car accident. And that has hurt the Ranger community ever since. It's been like, she was the first Ranger that we lost. This was before we had the conventions. This was really before Power Rangers blew up the way that it is now. Cause we were all teenagers back when that happened. So like, tragedy. But I like how they're retelling that tragedy and bringing this into the 30th anniversary. They're introducing her daughter, who presumably, I assume, will inherit the Saber-Tooth Tiger Ranger powers, because in the trailer, it looks like when Robot Rita returns, she acts as the Yellow Ranger. She just straight up murks the Yellow Ranger. And they mention death, like killed. She killed mom, and that's like huge in Power Rangers lore, like, because they don't mention death and being killed and things like that in the TV show. Like, yeah, we've had fallen Rangers for, I believe, West and Time Force, like sacrifice his life so the team can go back to the future. And we've lost other Rangers in real life since then. So many to count, but we'll save that for another video. But I am very interested and curious to see how that whole storyline plays out. Obviously, we will get an answer to that because it's basically the plot of the movie. I'm just interested. Like, I'm really glad that they're doing this, because they could have recast the Yellow Ranger. They could have did a lot of other things, but they're bringing something that really hurt the community and kind of paying homage to it, which means they might do this again in the future with other fallen Rangers who we've lost. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. This is a big one, and apparently this is all big all over the internet, and that's the Z-Wave theory. Let me explain. The Z-Wave, back in the conclusion to Power Rangers in Space, Countdown to Destruction, Andros, the In-Space Red Ranger, rescues Zordon, and they're fighting like all of the villains that they have ever had to fight throughout the entire series up until that point. And Zordon suggests to Astros to destroy him. Take, his spiral saber, it's a saber that's a drill, Power Rangers, and destroy him. We even see Zordon's crack energy tube in the back of the new command center. And with that said, in Dino Fury, we got back, Lord Zed came back as well. Now we're getting Robot Rita in a new body. What does that mean? Like, are these villains back? Does that mean Zordon's technically back? Are we gonna get Zordon coming back in the busted energy tube? Is it gonna be Bryan Cranston? So many questions about this theory in itself. Because if we're getting old villains back, we have to probably get some answer to what happened to Zordon's energy, because technically, yes, Zordon was in the tube, but it's been explained several times, both in the show and in the 1995 movie, and I believe even in the Turbo Ranger movie and in the Turbo Ranger season itself, that Zordon is in like some distortion field in the tube in between dimensions or whatever. Zordon's from Altar, and you can go read the comics because there's a whole backstory about that, but whatever happened with him with Zordon and Altar, with him being a ranger or fighting the Morphing Masters or whatever background you want to pick and choose and go from, he ended up in the tube and creating the Power Rangers and the Power Coins and working with Ninjor and X, Y, and Z. We know all that. Got Zed back and we have Robot Rita. Zordon has to come back somehow. Like, where did that good energy go? If like, because we saw all the villains turn good at the end of In Space, and now they're back evil. So what's the deal with that? Number 5. Now, this is something that maybe only I have wondered or personally dealt with and kind of need the answer to. I did recently do a rewatch of season 3 and season 3A, which is the Ninjetti and Alien Rangers seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And at the conclusion to season 3A, while the kids, the Power Ranger kids, are going to collect the Zeo crystals, Aisha is sent, I guess, back in time even further, even though they was already back in time, I guess, to Africa to retrieve her Zeo crystal, where she meets her cousin or ancestor, Tanya. I say cousin because I think that's how I remember them saying it, but I also think they definitely said ancestor. Tanya's Aisha's ancestor. Whatever, long story short, Tanya was like, hey, let me go to California and be a Power Ranger and you stay here and make medicine for the animals. Deal? and they did a switcheroo. And when when Tanya came back with the yellow Zeo crystals, Zordon was like, hey, this is what happened. She's the new Yellow Ranger. Or she came back and said Aisha wants to go help animals. And they combined all 5 of the Zeo crystals and turned back into teenagers. And Nakia Burrise appears from this child form to her beautiful, magnificent self. And then they go into Zeo, and in between the end of season 3 of Power Rangers, Alien, whatever, and the start of Zeo, Billy gives up his Ranger powers to Tanya. His color would have been blue, or does that mean Billy would have been the yellow Zeo Ranger if he hadn't did that? I'm confused because that doesn't make sense to me. Like, Billy did get his Zeo crystal, which was blue. We saw that in season 3A of Power Rangers. Tanya came back with the yellow one. What color would Billy had been? Would he have been blue? Would Rocky have been screwed out of a Ranger color? I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about. But whatever, getting back to the point number 5. But how did Tanya and Aisha deal with their lifestyle choices after they became teenagers again and the world was reverted back to normal? Like, was Aisha okay just giving up being the Yellow Ranger and missing out on the Zeo powers altogether? Magically, Tanya's family moved to America somehow because of the morphing grid and the Zeo crystal, and everything's fine. Like how did they buy a house and get a job? Whatever. Maybe I'm thinking it too much, but I just always wondered, how did they really resolve that? And after they became teenagers, did they ever meet up again in show, in universe somehow? We never seen it, but like after Tanya stopped being the Yellow Turbo Ranger, did she go back to Africa and meet Aisha? And did they talk about the adventures Tanya had? I don't know, that's just me, just one of my thoughts. Speaking of Zeo powers and just random things that didn't make sense when they transferred from season 3 of Power Rangers to the Zeo, what happened to the Zeo powers? Because like, if you're telling me, come here. You're telling me the turbo powers are more powerful and advanced than the Zeo power. That doesn't make sense to me. The Zeo powers is stated several times in the Zeo season that the Zeo powers are the strongest powers that they have ever had, and as the longer that they have them, the stronger they get. I have seen theories online that maybe the Zeo powers is harmful to the user's body, and because of that, they are limited into how much they use it, so they had to stop using it and moved on to the turbo power set, and then the in space power set, and then the Lost Galaxy power set, and so forth and so on. I don't know. That's just a theory I've heard. I mean, it's plausible. What do you guys think? But I need a better solid answer to what happened to the Zeo powers. That's just some extra bonus stuff. Another extra bonus thing, it's gonna be a lot of these. Another thing that I've been wondering, that I've been thinking about, the Master Morpher. The last time we see the Master Morpher is in the Ninja Steel team up. Tommy comes back with the Master Morpher and he morphs into his 5 iconic Ranger forms, or 4 of his 5 iconic Ranger forms. He didn't do Red Turbo for some reason. And since then, I've always wondered and speculated, where did the Master Morpher come from? And now that we get Billy Cranston back in universe and is in the 30th anniversary special, maybe they'll explain the origins of the Master Morpher, because I've always felt that like Billy has created their power sets before and altered the power set and has probably the best understanding of the morphing grid than any other Ranger that's ever been a Ranger, probably even better than Zordon himself. He again configured the powers of the Zeo power set. He probably already had the turbo power set made. Maybe that's what he went to Altar to create, was the turbo power set, because he knew the Zeo powers were too strong and would kill the Rangers if they keep using it. Maybe. I don't know. Another thing I want to explain is the origins of the origins of the Master Morpher. In Dino Fury, we have the Morphing Masters, and we see them creating the different Ranger artifacts that give Rangers their powers, like the Nix's Power Star, the Ranger Keys, the cars that they use in Megaforce. They created all these things, even probably the power coins themselves that Zordon used, and the Zeo crystals. So did Billy ever meet the Morphing Masters? That's very interesting. I didn't even think about that. Did Billy meet the Morphing Masters? Is that a thing? Can that be a thing? I don't know. I want to know the origins of the Master Morpher. Did Billy create it? And with that said, if Billy did create the Master Morpher, does that mean that all former Rangers who were multiple Rangers from different series of Rangers have Master Morphers? Because if they do, I would really love to see that. Like, I would really love to see that, and it would make sense. It would explain so much. Like, my final thing that I need some kind of explanation to in this 30th anniversary season. So we have two Black Rangers, two Mastodon Black Rangers in the show together. Yeah, we don't see Johnny Young Bosch morph. He's with Karan Ashley in the SPA suit. The last Mastodon Ranger we saw was Johnny Young Bosch in Once a Ranger, Always a Ranger, and before that in a cameo in Space, where his power coin, the Mastodon power coin, was cracked in half, and he was using it, and it was hurting him and draining his life energy. And then he comes back in Once and Always in the Operation Overdrive team up, and is the leader of the former Rangers, which was badass. Excuse my French, but it was badass seeing that and seeing him and the other former Rangers from the other Disney seasons come together. So that was amazing. But him having a Master Morpher at that point, and now Walter Jones having a Master Morpher, and Kathleen Sutherland and Karan Ashley and Stephen Cardenas having Master Morphers makes sense. Like, yeah, Walter Jones was season 1, a little bit of season 2. Billy's been there from the beginning up until season 4. You have a mixed match, hodgepodge team of Rangers. A lot of these actors and actresses haven't even shared scenes together. Like, I don't think Walter Jones and Johnny Young Bosch and Karan Ashley has been on screen together until now, or even if we will get that in this. I don't think David Yost has been on screen with some of these people. No, he has been on screen with them. I'm sorry. But yeah, Walter Jones definitely hasn't been on screen with Karan Ashley and Johnny Young Bosch and Stephen Cardenas. So this will be interesting to see. And Kathleen Sutherland for that matter. So seeing Rangers from like the different era of mmpr Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 1, 2, and 3 come together, I think I'm just curious. I was talking about the Master Morpher. I'm just curious. And speaking of Rangers coming back, so Johnny Young Bosch is coming back and Kathleen Sutherland are also coming back. I believe Kathleen Sutherland, we last saw her in Super Mega Force as just a walk-on cameo, where her walking with the legion of other former Rangers and her taking off her helmet, and that was it. I believe that was all we saw of her. She never got a line or anything. And Super Mega Force is garbage, and that will be his own video. I want to see how they bring some of these former characters back and how they're going to do everything. Like, I'm so excited about this. Like, I've done nothing since my last video, just be enamored with Power Rangers and just enjoy talking about Power Rangers with you guys. The last thing, and I know this is probably like 10 or 11 at this point, but the last thing I kind of need an answer to is, how are they going to use this to connect the entire Power Rangers franchise together, between the TV shows, the movies, the comics, the video games, all the extended lore? How are they going to tie these things together? Or even if that's something they're going to do, is the 30th anniversary special just nostalgia bait for the 90s babies, or is this something that's going to be a platform, a big reboot for the franchise in a sense, to kind of fix some of the continuity errors? I don't know, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This was actually meant to be a very short video, and I've been ranting about Power Rangers for about a good 35 minutes now. But yeah, subscribe to the channel and just let me know what you think. Like, I really want to talk about Power Rangers. Is so much Power Rangers stuff is coming out. Like, I'm going to Ranger Stop and Pop. I got press passes for Ranger Stop and Pop. Like, that's like, I'm so pumped for Power Rangers. Like, this is the year of Power Rangers. I don't care what level of fan you are when you started watching Power Rangers, but this is the year for us. We get to shine right now. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.
Hold on, I know that Rita had the green power coin first, but what about the other 5 coins?
We have them here. Red, blue, black, yellow, and pink.
You already have the energy from your pink coin. Too much pink energy is dangerous.